Hello, check, check, 1 2 1 2. Is it working? It is. Hello! Welcome to another lovely live stream on a Friday afternoon. I figured today was Christmas. Give you guys a break. Okay, I'll stream a little bit later. Gives me a break too. I've had a very nice day today. Hopefully you did as well. Happy Christmas, happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate, I don't care. I hope you're having a good time. And yeah, hopefully as we move closer and closer to the new year, hopefully people are having a good outlook on what this next year could be, because if anything can top 2020, I don't want to see it. So please, you know, no matter what you believe in, send your good hopes into the air, and hopefully we get something next year that's a little bit more chillax. Because last year started with World War III almost starting, the coronavirus creeping into the corners of our lives. There's so many things, man. Riots. Oh my God, 2020 was a mess, but hopefully next year does a little bit better. Okay, so let's start saying hi. We can get into the price action, and yeah, it looks like Santa is going to answer my my question for a gift last night. I asked Santa last night for $28,000 Bitcoin, and we're one step away from breaking upwards towards that mark. So let's go ahead and start with Bitbird. Bitbird, you're first this time. Hey, how you doing? He said, "Merry Christmas!" And hopefully you guys saw the starting screen had a little Santa hat on me and a little elf hat on Fish. Thanks to Bitbird for thinking of that. Thank you very much. Crypto Boss Andrew. Hey, how you doing, man? Merry Christmas. Florian. Sup Kite. Merry Xmas. Merry Christmas to you too, buddy. Ernesto Sup Kite. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, buddy. Waffle Boy. Did you get waffles for Christmas? Kyle Douglas. Merry Christmas, buddy. Paul Bailey. Yeah, hopefully that Bailey. I don't know. Merry Christmas. Top stars, Merry Christmas, Kite. Merry Christmas to you too, buddy. I prefer the night streams anyways. Well, for people that are in America, that works out, but we gotta think of everybody else, man. Everybody else, it's like 11 o'clock at night for them. Merry Christmas, Kite and crew. So what are you having on Christmas Day after feeling a bit rough today, but I had a great day. I'm glad you did, man. Hopefully you guys have either treated yourself to a nice Christmas gift or treated others. My favorite part about Christmas is not getting anything, which, you know, not to like make me feel sad or anything. I didn't get anything for Christmas just yet, but I got my friends gifts that were very personal, and I like to see the aftermath of Christmas presents. I try to make sure that I get Christmas presents that are going to last and stuff that they're going to use on a daily basis. You know, sometimes you get Christmas presents which are really cool in the beginning, but then they kind of just sit on a shelf. I don't like that. I want something that you're going to see every single day. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm kind of looking like Crown today. A little bit more fly version of Crown. You can see my hair is doing like this weird, like Einsteinian, like poof over here. But yeah. You can only hear the music. Wait, you can't hear me? Hello? Bitbird, please. Don't let me, don't make it seem like I was talking to myself. Music is a bit loud. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I did not even think about that. I'm sorry. It's because the, I gotta turn up the playback in my ear. Because whenever I link these Bluetooth headsets back to my computer, I have to go into the settings, and then I have to go and turn up the sound of the individual device, which is annoying, man. Why would they do that? It makes no sense. And I can't set it so that when I reconnect it does it automatically. I don't know, man. I do. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, so hopefully everything is equalized now. We can go ahead and get started. on all the cryptocurrencies. So I'm very confident that over the next couple of days, we should see some breakouts. Now, there is a chance that we do go back down below, back into the range, and form kind of a head and shoulders. We'll display, you know, how that can happen. Now, the good thing is every single time that it's ever happened like this, it wasn't quite in this way, which gives me a little bit more confidence. Back in the previous ranges, we would... What are you doing? We would pop up out of the range and then come back down shortly, kind of with a BART pattern. This time around, it looks very natural. We got out of the range, came back down to find support on the previous resistance. Now we're starting to move back up, so love to see it. All right, so let's go ahead and transfer over to the charts, you know, so you're done just staring at my face. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring the green screen up as well. Cue the music. And let's go ahead and crop myself. Boom, bada bing. We're trying out new catchphrases here. Okay, so it looks kind of a mess right now. So what I did for Bitcoin, we'll start with Bitcoin as we always do. All right, the first thing I want to highlight is, first off, just regular support and resistance. What's happened so far? All right, so I mean, it's no surprise that we're kind of having a breakout here. Let's go ahead and move down to the 1 hour chart. All right, so the average top of this support range was about 24,000, just under that, about 23,950, around that area. Now, the bottom was at about 22.5. All right, we had a little bit lower low and a little bit higher high, but I'm looking for where most of the price action ends up. That's a little bit more my style. Okay, so you can see early last night, early this morning, depending on where you're at, we got above our first major resistance. We had the initial spike up to about 24,500, and then we came back down to retest support, okay, on the previous resistance, which we are now starting to go back up. So that's the first good sign. That's what we want to see. Previous resistance turning into support, whether it's short term or long term. Okay, that's what we want to see. Now, we can always come back down and retest this area once again, but who knows? Now, the only thing that we do have to worry about in the short term is possibly a double top. Now, this is an easy trade. It's an if this and that statement. If we come back down below into this range, not only will we be retreating back into the previous range, therefore we should take a short, as well as that we have a double top, and then the break of the horizontal, which is the previous resistance, would be the breakout of the double top, meaning we should go back down to at least the bottom of the range. Now, you know, that would be a lot more bearish because this one small move to the upside could therefore cause a head and shoulders, causing a breakout to the downside of this range even more likely. So I don't want to, you know, abracadabra it, bring it into existence by speaking it, but we have to be, you know, lenient. We have to look things in the eye and see what they actually are. So far, so good when it comes to us forming a nice logarithmic curve as well. All right, you can see right here, we started from forming this logarithmic curve. And if it is holding the way that it looks, we should take off here to the upside pretty dang soon, within, you know, like the next couple hours. Fishy, what are you doing? Chillax. Chillax. All right, so that's very, very nice to see. As well as that, so if we go up to the higher time frames, such as the 4 hour to 6 hour, what you're going to see is a double bottom off of the 50, you know, around that region, 45 to 55. That's what I consider the 50. And we have a breakout above the horizontal resistance of said double bottom. And on the smaller time frames, such as the 2 hour, we have gone back down and retested that previous resistance as support. Love to see it. So, I mean, the technical target for the RSI, and I know you might be saying to yourself, you can't use support and resistance and targets on RSI. Yes, you can. Get out of here. All right, so that would basically put our target up to about 93. And we have went from the bottom to the top of the range, about $2,000, with just this small amount of, I want to kind of display it here, with just the small amount of RSI movement that we got right here, okay? So we have a whole lot more to go as long as we stay above that support resistance. So when it comes to divergences in RSI, we're looking exactly the way that we want to be. Okay. So, I mean, on the higher time frame, such as the 4 hour, this is just a little blip on the map. I was kind of looking at this last night as a possibility. I really wasn't sure if I wanted to highlight it because you guys know me, I'd rather play horizontals than diagonals, but we kind of had a bullish pennant almost, or bullish pennant, not pendant, but you know, we kind of had the diagonal resistance, diagonal support, and then we broke through it, and so far we've been kind of just going straight up. But me personally, I got my entry at about 24,195 with my stop loss just below that. I forgot the exact number, but that being said, I did get wicked out once. So we've talked about this, and you know, thank God I didn't do the same thing on Litecoin back when we made that trade. But when it came back down to retest support, I did get wicked out once and we had to re-enter, which is unfortunate, but the risk reward ratio on this trade is absolutely fantastic. So I don't care if I get wicked out once. If I got wicked out 3 times, that would suck. But we're still looking fantastic. I'm using about 10% risk on this. And if we win, on the higher side, we would be adding about 100% to our portfolio almost. All right, so put in our entry here about 24,195. Let's see. Yep, about 195. Stop loss nicely below. It must have been. We based it off of this 1 hour high here. Okay. And I think I had it somewhere around 23,900 something. All right. Might have been a 0.88 if I do believe so myself. Now, I am targeting about 27,000 as like an average. So obviously we have to wait for the price action to actually show us what the next top is going to be. But if we do get up into that $27,000 region, it comes out to about a 10 risk reward ratio. So net positive anywhere between 80 to 90% if this trade does successfully complete from here without me being worked out again. So you might be asking yourself, what are these lines that I have highlighted here? These are the trend Fibonacci's from this last previous low to this high to this low. Okay, so you can see this line right here correlates to the 0.382, which is kind of, you know, what you could say we're using as resistance right now almost. What is likely in the short term is to pump up to about 0.618, which is at about 26,300, and then probably use the 0.382 as support. And then from there, probably do a couple bounces and then break up to the 1, which is about 28,000, and then possibly use the 0.618 as its support. Kind of like how we do these staircase patterns before we finally make a range. You can see previous rejection, support, breakout, previous resistance becomes support, and then we finally have another breakdown, creating a much larger range. So we'll see how this works out in the future, but right now we're just focusing on the small time frame support and resistance. The indicators look good. Support resistance looks good. No reason to be bearish right now until or if we come back down into the previous range. Absolutely no reason whatsoever. Is there a rising wedge? Kinda, but not really. All right, you have this right here, but that's more of a channel. That's not really a rising wedge. There's no significant diagonal here to tell us that that's going to be a rising wedge. I mean, even in the longer term, there's nothing telling us that this is a rising wedge. It can turn into that. We'll see how that works out in the future. But as of right now, no. John, Kite, Merry Christmas. How you doing, buddy? I'm doing pretty fantastic, man. I've had a good Christmas. It was a nice chillax day. And yeah, I had some Chinese food today because that's the only place that's open on Christmas. So, I mean, good little Christmas dinner. Go with the wicks. Okay, we'll go with the wicks. We'll see what you're looking at. I can kind of see what you're talking about. Okay. See what you're talking about. Now, I mean, if anything, what this is telling us is yes, we have the availability. Why did I say it like I was drunk? The availability to kind of staircase up this until we get to about 26,000. And then from there, get rejected, break out to the downside of the ascending triangle or ascending wedge. And then possibly the target would either come back down to 24,000 or hold support here, and the rest of that momentum would get transferred to the upside. So I see what you're saying, but it still kind of fits into the dynamic that I'm looking for when it comes to just, support resistance retests. Do you trade full time? If you do, how is tax where you're from? So I'm from the United States, and taxes are an absolute beauty. Okay, I don't like paying taxes. I don't think anybody does, but I think it's fair. Okay, in the society that we live in, you kind of got to. All right. Now, when it comes to taxes, it's very damn easy where I'm from. All right, we have a thing called TurboTax. We literally just log into that. I go to Coinbase, and Coinbase tracks all of the cash withdrawal transactions I've made this year. And then I download the tax form and I drag and drop it into TurboTax. It tells me how much I owe, and then I send it. It's as simple as that. It couldn't be any easier. So you got no excuses when it comes to not paying your taxes on crypto. If you don't, you're messing up. You're making it worse on all of us. Hey, Austin, just joined. Merry Christmas. Wondering what to do on BTC. My short lost, and when my breakout long went back down. Tricky one. So I kind of said in the I don't know if I put in the general chat or the main channel, but as we were going up from the bottom of this range here, I specifically said that I was not going to short the top this time. Reason being was I was using my indicators. Indicators aren't all evil, even though I think most of them are. But I saw a double bottom off the 50 on a much higher time frame, and you do not whatsoever, ever, all right, in my opinion, not financial advice, short a bounce off the 50, nonetheless a double bounce off the 50. Okay, so that's the main reason why I did not short. So I went with the breakout trade, and yes, I did get wicked out of the first breakout trade, but I re-entered because if this then that. All right, so now, all right, we're kind of getting stuck between the previous resistance, which is acting as support now, and a new resistance at about 24,470 on the averages. It's a little bit higher than that on the wicks, I know. But now we have the correct setup if we did want to take a short. So now we have a double top on the 1 hour chart. Therefore, if we do come back down below 24,000 and we enter short, we have that confirmation that we should be in a short. And then we can just short it all the way down to 22,500, pick it back up, and then more than likely we'll see another retest forming a head and shoulders. If it does want to continue to the downside, that'll be an extra trade, and then we take a short again, and then we do it all over again and we break it down. Now, if we do have a breakdown, all right, I don't know exactly if we'll go all the way back down to 19,700, but it's very likely. Okay, very, 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 very likely that does happen. All right, so I would not be surprised, all right, if that does happen. At the moment, not likely. Possibility, not probability. What did I get for Christmas? I bought myself these ear pods. Yep, I mean, that's the thing. If you get wicked out and you don't re-enter, which a lot of people don't because they're scared. They're like, I got wicked out once, I don't want to get wicked out again. But then you're going to miss that entry. So for me, it was a no-brainer. All right. I know sometimes getting wicked out is going to happen on these particular retests. It could have happened to me very easily on Litecoin, but I got lucky. All right, I would have just re-entered. Now, so we've spent a lot of time on Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and start moving on. All right, so on Ethereum, all right, I was telling you guys in the Telegram to pay close attention to these specific diagonal channels. All right, we had one on Ethereum, we had one on Litecoin. All right, so we broke through it. Now we're coming back down to retest. As well as that, we could possibly form a diagonal inverse head and shoulders, bringing us back up to the top of the range to about, 670. Me personally, I took the re-entry, and we talked about this, in the previous live stream, that this was our previous low of the range, and this was kind of just a fake out going back down to retest this diagonal support and resistance from the long-standing trend. And then once it got back above and we entered in at 599, I believe, stop loss shortly below, and I've been kind of just carrying that. We'll be taking profits at about 666. I know, not a good number for everybody, but that is where I'm going to be taking my profits, and then subsequently taking the breakout trade from there at about probably either 677 or 676, somewhere in that range. And then my next expected target long term is definitely going to be about 800. That's the next macro. So, I mean, it's a good distance to go, but we got the target for it. If we kind of say that this is looking like a gigantic ascending triangle, which, I mean, in a way it kind of is, especially if we build up one more tap of resistance here, more than definitely would start looking like that. And where does our target take us? Our target takes us to about 846. So I have confidence that that $800 entry will be hit. All right, so moving on from there. I mean, it's pretty much the same ordeal as with Bitcoin. This time around, the 4-hour is getting its double bottom out of the oversold territory with a little bit of bullish convergence off of a bearish divergence from over here. So we're breaking out above the horizontal resistance of the double bottom, went down to retest support, and now we're going to start carrying on, hopefully. So that's pretty much it when it comes to Ethereum. Looking good, you know, a little bit slow comparative to all the other coins, but nonetheless, awesome. Love to see it. We're up a good amount on Ethereum at the moment. I think maybe like 100%. So, you know, by the time we hit that top, it'll be a nice little trade. Now, I have taken profits on my Litecoin long. Okay, so we have been long ever since $93.50. So in totality, we entered about 93.50, and we just took profits at about 122. So that's about a 30% spread. I made about 700% profit on that trade. So pretty damn good. I think I used about $50 margin, and I walked away with about, you know, a little bit under 400 bucks. So I mean, that's a good setup in my book. Now, next trade coming up is going to be about a 5.77. I already marked it out for the people in the Telegram group. Feel free to use this to your advantage if you want to. Not financial advice, just my opinion. Now, the reason why I took my profits is just because we had a large rejection returning back to the top. The market showed us exactly where we should take profits. It took a very long time, and yes, I could have made a lot more. I was using about $1 to $2 a day to you know, continue to trade because of funding rate. So over the course of, you know, like the last couple of weeks that we've been holding this trade, we got in right about here. We got about right here. So I spent about, you know, at most $20 in funding, but I made 400 bucks. I mean, I have confidence. I'm waiting for it to do what I got to do, and funding did not. It was not even an issue. So very, very good trade. We have another one coming up. $140 is a macro based off of the daily chart. That's why I'm being, you know, very, very wary of that region. In particular, you can see 142, 141. So we're going to be taking our profits at about 140, 139, just being safe. Now, as things start to shape up, we probably will either, one, see an actual rejection and then retest back down to the downside, or two, we will see a smaller range, you know, aka a continuation pattern, and then we will get slightly above 140, probably to about 150 or something like that, and then come back down and retest, building a double layered range. So we have first breakout, second breakout, final rejection, larger range, actual breakout to what we would assume to be our next target of about 175. Now, in actuality, all right, 175 is a support and resistance that we need to be wary of, but that is not a major macro support resistance. You might be asking yourself, well, hey, this is the daily chart. I can see there's a very significant rejection here. But when I do my support and resistance, it is based off of trends, so that you can see that this is a single downtrend All right, so the only thing that matters from this is this top and this bottom. Right here is a single uptrend, which ended right here. That's why 141 is more significant than 175, 230, until we get back up to our all-time high, which is obviously the most significant resistance of them all. All right. So we'll see how that continues to work out. And last but not least, let's talk about XRP. I tried to warn you guys, okay, that this was not going to be absolutely catastrophic. Now, I did see a little bit of news that XRP was actually getting delisted temporarily as they figure things out. It's not a complete delist. It's going to come back at some point from Bitstamp. Now, all the other exchanges, screw them. I don't really care about those. Bitstamp, that's a huge one, okay? Now, we haven't seen a large dump coming from that news. My personal opinion, not financial advice, is that this was going to happen either way. The addition of the lawsuit has now made it easier for the rich people to get their entries better and quicker, as well as that make major profit on the short, while the actual people that matter, the people that need to make money, the retail investors, they are too scared to enter because of the FUD. All right, but let's go ahead and take a look at the technical analysis. Let's not take a look at the news. Let's look at pure charts. Okay, so first off, let's go ahead and delete everything and let's just focus on the trends. Okay, so this was a previous downtrend that we broke back here in the middle of November. Okay, so that was our first major run up, was after breaking that downtrend, which makes sense. Next, we have a very huge layer of support here coming from these higher lows, creating this diagonal uptrend. So you see that we're getting stuck in this cradle formation. And this is why I focus on the averages, and especially when it comes to stuff like this, I'm focusing on much higher time frames. Because if you're looking at the 1 hour, the 5 minute, it looks catastrophic and that there is no hope for XRP. But when we look at the 6 hour, it is getting a bounce directly off of those, exactly where it should be. Okay, as well as that, we have the horizontal support resistance region of about 31 cents to about 33 cents. Okay, so that's our first major local high and our layer of support that we really need to stay above. So moving down to the smaller time frames, this is what I was talking about on the Telegram. I was telling people that I was looking for a smaller double bottom. All right, so we took an entry on XRP on the break of this double bottom with this diagonal slant here. The initial run up was quite good, but we came back down and we got wicked out. But if this, then that, I went ahead and re-entered. So for me, that was just a retest of previous resistance turning into support. Now, obviously, this just can be a continuation of the downtrend. Don't get me wrong. All right. But from a technical standpoint, I think it's at least a good chance to try this on. All right. Because the upside potential is massive when the downside potential is minuscule. I'm not saying dump your entire portfolio into XRP. I'm just saying this is one of those Hail Marys that could make you a decent chunk to your portfolio with minimal risk. Okay. Now, I have talked to you guys many times before on how to gauge the beginning and the end of a bull market based on simple indicators. All right, if anybody has missed out on that kind of talk, all right, we're going to go ahead and go to the 4-day chart on Bitcoin. All right, 4-day chart. Now, what I want you to pay attention to here is the bounces off the 50 on the RSI. All right, so back here when we were at about $355, all right, this was the first time in a long time that we got above the 50, not just got above it, but then came back down to retest it and confirmed support. So that could have been your particular sign that, hey, the bull market is starting, and you could have entered the majority of your money around $450. All right, and all throughout the bull market, it's a constant retest of this previous top and a bounce off the 50. All right, so eventually it keeps getting more and more and more, and it's easier to break. So right about here, all right, you can see once we got below the 50 on the RSI, you can see we got below the 50, as we came and retraced back from 20K. And then we went back up to retest, and we saw the first rejection off the 50. Okay. So you could have entered about 450, exited at about $9,000 to $11,000 if you followed this exact method. Now, using smaller time frames, you could have gotten an inkling that you should have been withdrawing your profits already, so maybe you would have made a little bit more money. But in terms of just macro time frames and spot trading, that could have been easily done, no sweat. So what I want you to pay attention to here is when we switch over to XRP, what do you see? All right. Right here, this previous run up from about 17 cents to about 30 cents was the first time in a long time that we have gotten above the 50 and actually came back down and found support off of it. So from my perspective, all that is happening is that we are going back down to retest the 50 and getting a bounce and amplifying momentum for a monumental run up. All right. I think this is something that a lot of people understand on the higher end of things, but if you don't look at it from this perspective, pure technicals, because you have to think XRP is not the same as Bitcoin. It does not have the same mathematical principles that is just going to make it go up out of nowhere because of simple supply and demand. XRP works off of different fundamentals because they can always print more, and it's, you know, kind of iffy. That's why they're getting sued. So it needs that kind of amplification of momentum. You know, we've seen it right here. I mean, XRP is probably one of the worst coins when it comes to massive drops in a quick period of time. Whereas Bitcoin, you know, dropped, you know, a couple $1,000s. This dropped, you know, almost 90% in the course of, you know, the bear market. All right. So XRP, you guys know my opinion on it, but from a pure technical standpoint, it is not over yet. And I think the wool is being pulled over people's eyes, and they're not seeing the opportunities because of fear. All right. I think there's going to be a lot of XRP billionaires made from that one move right there. I can almost guarantee it. All right. So, done talking. All right, so we took a look at every single coin. I know someone asked me if I could take a look at, I think ADA was the question. Yeah, ADA. So we'll take a look at ADA real quick. Okay, so I mean, it looks like we're holding a very standard range here. I'm gonna up it to the 2 hour just to get a little more flat top and flat bottom here. All right, so you can see this is the range for ADA. If we go ahead and throw some Fibonacci retracements on this. Okay, the next target that I would be really looking for on the breakout of this range, which kind of just lines up. You don't really even need the Fibonacci's to tell you this. You could just take the length of this range. I would be looking for about 21.6 cents. Okay. That is if we break out to the upside. I'm not saying that that's a guarantee. Okay, now let's look at the daily chart. Let's see if there's any macros in the way. No, not really. Not really. So we went back down. We retested the previous resistance of the double bottom, found support. Now we're kind of just working our way up and also retesting this previous local high here. So it makes sense that we're kind of bouncing back and forth. So I mean, short term, that's what I'll be looking for, about 21 cents. We can go ahead and say that after that, about 27 cents. And after that, we're going to be looking at about 35 cents. Okay. And this right here, we're still in the very, very beginning of this because this is a 1, this is a 2. All right. We still have so much time for the 3 and then, you know, whatever the 4 decides to be. All right. So we have so much time. Why can you use SR and patterns on the RSI? So I want you to think of it like this, okay? Let's say that we have a previous resistance on a asset such as Bitcoin, okay? And that previous resistance is all the way down at 12,500. Okay. How can we test a previous support or resistance without reaching it on price? Simple. All right. We retest the previous strength of the market with the new strength. So if you can find support off of the previous resistance of the strength of the market, that signifies that that previous level is actually correct without even going there. Okay. So if we apply this to the daily chart on Bitcoin, let's see if we can see that. Okay. So let's see. Maybe a higher time frame would be halfway decent here. Okay. So like I said, the 50 is what truly matters. If you're getting a bounce off the 50, that means you're trending upwards and that the market is good. All right. So right here, we have a much higher high on the RSI comparative to here. All right. But we were getting a significantly lower low comparative to these two highs, or a lower high comparative to this high. So we tested even further down in the market on the RSI, but we got a bounce and we're confirming upwards. Therefore, we have even more strength than we did here. Then we don't have to go all the way back down to 12,500 and retest. Hopefully that made sense. But support and resistance on indicators is just as effective. If you're using MACD for support and resistance, I would look for diagonal supports and resistances, capitulation of momentum leading to momentum breakouts. That's usually what we have runs in the market with. Now you see that there is a possible chance for a double top on the daily, or at least the 4-day RSI. So a correction is coming soon, but this is a 4-day. It takes a lot longer for it to work itself out. All right. Now I'm sure if we looked at the MACD, we would probably be having these stokes to the upside still as well. They probably don't even look bearish. Bitcoin Agu 3000. Merry Christmas, man. Hopefully you're having a great one. Amazing Asian. Hey, Kite, how's it going? It's going pretty good, man. Christmas is rocking. Price is moving. Can't ask for a better Christmas present than this. Link USD. We can check out Link. All right, so does look kind of bearish here. Looks like we might have the possibility of forming a descending triangle off the bat. Now, doesn't necessarily mean that it has to. We can come back down to about $9, get a nice bounce off of that support, and then put in a double bottom, you know, kind of like a horizontal flag, and then break out to the upside. Always a possibility. Or we could be putting in a higher low and then create another diagonal support, putting in a gigantic bullish pennant on the 4-day. Now, when it comes to the smaller time frames, I'm sure that's what you're actually asking about. Let's go ahead and take a look at the smaller time frames. Let's take a look at the 2-hour. 1 hour is a little bit too small. So, unfortunately, you know, back quite a couple streams ago, we were taking a look at this particular diagonal here. It looks like we went down and retested this previous support. The next one after that would be this one. All right, and we're gonna be stuck underneath this, and then this, and then finally we should get back above there. All right, so you can see bounce, 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 bounce. Okay, so this is a little bit harder. That's why I'm just waiting for an actual breakout. I kind of told you as we were talking about this that even though there could be a possible entry here to be found, and there was one at about $10, that previous support. If you really want to be safe about this, I would say wait for a break of $16 before getting in. That's the early entry point. If you want to be extra safe, wait until we pass 21. Yeah, so if you don't monetize the video, they're still going to copyright, not copyright strike, but copyright you. And if it's a certain song, there's certain media companies like Sony, for example, that will straight up block your video. I've had that happen a couple times. So the 50 only works on the 4-day RSI. I'm talking about for macro bull runs, all right? The 50 on the RSI can be found all of the time. The higher the time frame, the better, the stronger the move, all right? But let's say we go back to BTC, for example. All right, you can see that on the 2-hour, we were finding support off the 39. All right, the 6-hour, we're finding support off of the 50 exactly, okay? So you can see right here, as we were trending upwards throughout this entire thing, all right, you can see we got above the 50, found support, huge blast off to the upside. That's actually what led us to breaking that major $12,500 support. Then we come back down to the 50, find more support, major up run to the upside, come back down to the 50, major up run to the upside, come back down to the 50, break through the 50. All right, and then we came back down, got a double bottom off the oversold territory, exaggerated bearish, bullish divergence in order to break the all-time high. And then from there, we got above the 50 again, and we're finding support. So what do you think is going to happen? I'm not saying past results equal future price action, but it does rhyme. So that's why I was not shorting. You know, if I see a bounce off the 50 on the 4-hour to 6-hour and we're getting to the top of our range, not the time to be shorting, buddy. Not the time to be shorting. Looks like we're starting to get past that resistance on the short-term time frames on the averages. The average resistance is about 24,495, and we're slightly above that, so let's keep it going. Let's go. Bitcoin to the moon, and you can see the 30-minute as well. Got above the 50, got a bounce off of it, run up. Got above the 50, well, it was above the 50, came back down to the 50, retested it, run up. All right, these things take time to work themselves out, but I can guarantee you that as long as we continue to hold the 50 and we're getting bounces off of it, we're going to be amplifying momentum on the way up. I think my white balance is a little bit off. Do B4. It's a little bit better. My crazy hair today. I just hopped in the shower and just blow dried the hell out of it. I didn't put any gel in it. I just kind of said, hey, I don't care. I love my people. They don't care what I look like. You know, it's kind of crazy to think about. You know, I've had a lot of success using one indicator. I use MACD sometimes just for extra confirmation, usually for you guys. I want to make sure that you guys have trust in the things I'm saying, and the more indicators backing up, the more likely someone is to have trust in it. But, I mean, you only need RSI, to be honest. Like 100%, you only need RSI. All right? I go with the market. I go with the flow. It's like jumping into a river, and instead of trying to fight the current and predict where the river is going to end, I just let it carry me. Okay? I wait for the supports and resistances to show themselves. I trade with what I'm given. Honestly, I don't really care about Fibonacci's. I don't care about, technical targets. I just let it show me what's up. If you're so focused on the end of something, you're never going to see how it begins. I'm going to turn my lights up a little bit, make me match the background. But what did you guys get for Christmas? Anybody get anything interesting from a significant other, parent, or just bought themselves to treat themselves? What happened to the GON charts? Once again, just staring into the matrix for 8 hours a day has damaged my mind. Okay, GONs, I can't say that they're bad. They are honestly, without a doubt, the most magic piece of trading that I have ever seen in my life. But with that being said, having to explain to people, or at least try to explain to people why they work and how to set them up every single live stream kind of got old. I'd rather teach a method that everybody can do rather than somebody else. Just maybe a small percentage of people can actually understand. It's not because, you guys are dumb. It's GON fans, there's so much happening. And that's why I want to focus on make sure that you have less information on your screen. All right. Make sure that you have your charts nicely organized and you're paying attention to the information that actually matters. Okay. That way there's no doubt in your mind when you make a decision. Otherwise, you're going to be going, well, this indicator says I should be going long, but this one hasn't quite said it itself. And this one over here, the money flow is going down. So how are these indicators saying go up? I think I'm just going to go to bed. All right. The less you have to look at in order to make a decision, the better. When a moth flies into a candle, he's not worried about dying. He just goes because that's what he wants to do. Okay. Follow your intuition. Now, in order to have the correct intuition, you do have to have education, but more often than not, if you have the education backing you up, your intuition is more often correct. So go with it. Don't worry about combustion in the flames. I know that's kind of gruesome, and I'm not saying don't worry about wrecking your account. All right. Not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't be afraid. That's all. I got a book called How Nonconformists Change the World. I agree with that to a certain extent, but it's like the Pradhyata Buddha, okay, the private Buddha. All right, he wakes up from the illusion of self, but the detriment of really realizing that you are alone, which is a whole nother connotation in itself, is kind of scary and very, very sad in a way. But you have the Bodhisattva, or I know I'm mispronouncing it, but the Buddha who wakes up, but instead of going and retreating, he's trying to liberate others from the illusion of self. And it's a very noble task because, I mean, how do you do that? Well, you kind of have to conform to the society you're born in order to relate to people and find out the analogies that are really going to stick with people. You have to conform a little bit in order to understand what you're working with, in a way. But, I mean, alone. A lot of people, when they say they're alone, it's supposed to be a very, very sad thing. But you have to really take apart the word alone. What does the word alone mean? Where does it come from? All right, if you take the word, 2 words, all one, and you mash them together, you get alone. All one. So, in all honesty, we are alone in the universe. See what I'm saying here? Going off on little psychedelic tangents. All right. I've been trying to teach how to use the RSI BB combo on my vids. Using basic indicators is the best thing for new traders. Absolutely. I would say no indicators is best for new traders. You have to start to learn how to walk before you run. I mean, even crawl. And the basis of trading is support and resistance. And if you do not understand how to play it correctly, just from a support and resistance standpoint, you adding indicators is not helping you whatsoever at all. My favorite pastime recently is, after all of these journeys I've gone on, going back and reading religious texts, whether it's the Bible, whether it's the Quran or anything like this, and finding those little bits and pieces that usually slip by. One of my favorite ones is after Adam and Eve eat the apple in Genesis. God says to them, behold, they are like us. They know the knowledge of good and evil. And if you don't reach out and take part of the tree of life, you will die forever. And one thing that really struck with me is God in the Bible. All right, I know this is not trading, and anybody that doesn't believe in religion, I'm not pure Christian. I'm not pure anything. I think it's all part of one whole. God never refers to himself as a singularity. He refers to himself as us. And you got to think of what he's talking about. God is not a single person or entity. It's the collection of all consciousness put into one. So through the knowledge of good and evil, which to me is the ego. All right, the monkey came out of the forest and he ate the tree of life, and therefore he thinks that he is a separate other, which is the basis of all destruction. Thinking that you are separate from somebody else, that you are a complete different entity, and that that causes no compassion. It causes you to treat people like objects. That's how they were able to see that they were naked, because now they don't think of each other as one part of a whole. Eve taken out of the rib of Adam. It's a part of Adam, so therefore he doesn't see the differences. But now they are separate. I can get into a whole thing about it, but essentially, if you don't take part in the tree of life, trying to refine that connection to the whole, you're going to die forever. Because if you are just a single entity, one person with one soul, and you die, you can't live on through other people, whether that's in a spiritual, metaphorical sense or, literal sense. But hey, I'm just a 21-year-old kid sitting in front of a camera, smoking copious amounts of nicotine. Don't listen to me. Go ahead and turn the crop off. We're going to start chilling out. We can just talk about this stuff for the rest of the stream. Or if anybody's got any more questions, feel free to ask them. Absolutely no problem. Oh. It actually snowed on Christmas this year too. It hasn't snowed on Christmas since I was probably like 10. So that was a good. I woke up, went outside to take fish out, and I was like, snow! Fish did not want to go outside in the snow. He was not having any part of it. Kind of true in a sense, John. Kind of true in a sense. I've gone places where time doesn't exist. I've spent a lot of time there. And although I don't have all of the memories from where I was, I still have the emotions of what I felt when I was there. Like when I had my near-death experience, it felt like 2 weeks to a month that I was crossed over. But in order to cross over, so to speak, there is a disintegration that must take place. All of your memories are gone from you as an individual and uploaded to, I don't know. I like to put everything in computer terms. That's how I understand life. But you're no longer you. You assimilate back into, I don't know what to call it, but it's beautiful. It really is. I was talking to my dad last night. I haven't talked to him in a good while. We had a nice little talk. We were just talking about, stuff like what we talk about on Livestream. And during one of my journeys out of body, I had the pleasure of being shown a memory of my father's where he was in a car crying because, my family was separated at a very young age. And basically my dad was crying in this car, and just I could feel the pain and the sorrow that was coming from him. And he was just questioning everything, the way that things have turned out. If he would have made a different decision, how would that affected everything? And I was talking to him about this, and he goes, that happened. It was about a couple years back, and I was very close to making a stupid decision. And it was very nice to have that conversation with my dad and reassure him that even though things could have technically on a surface level been better, the separation of my parents and the mistakes that was correlated to that has caused enormous strides in my mentality of life. I've got to spend more time with my grandparents than I probably would have ever gotten if my parents were together. I've had ample time in the car just riding back and forth from my mom's house to my grandparents' house to just talk to my dad about anything. And I just wanted, that was kind of my Christmas gift to him was, I'm going to be okay. You made a good person, and I love you very much. It was a good talk. Fish wants to say Merry Christmas. He's crying. Say Merry Christmas, Fish. Say Merry Christmas. Say Merry Christmas. Tell him what you're gonna get. I couldn't go get him Christmas presents yesterday because I overslept and all the stores were closing early. But he's gonna get treats. Yeah. He's gonna get toys. Yeah. And if you're extra good and you don't piss in the store this time, you can come with me and actually choose out what toys you get. That sound like a plan, Stan? You just gotta not let loose. Merry Christmas. All right, go lay down. Be a good boy. Andrew Zappa. Rofus, man. I died twice during my neck reconstruction surgery. Amazing how it makes you rethink life and your goals and perspective. It has made me stronger. It does. It kind of sucks that a lot of people don't get that sneak peek at what comes next. And let me tell you this. It's terrifying. It's utterly terrifying, but in a good way. All right, if you think, see, from day to day, we don't understand just how confusing and scary this world is. Imagine what it would be like if you were an alien kid, all right, and you got put on the planet Earth and you had to assimilate to our cultures and how things work here. It would make no sense. It's a completely different world. But we're born here, so we grow up and we're conditioned to it, and we're desensitized to it. So in a way, dying is like getting reborn again into a different place where things work completely differently and there's a different type of structure to reality. And you gotta learn to work with it. But it's terrifying. But at the same time, it's one of the most peaceful experiences I've ever had. I wish I could die every day, but not in a depressing way. I love life, and I love the chances I get to interact with people and have the conversations like this that, hey, you don't usually get somewhere else. But it's a very peaceful experience. Life, we go through life, hating it and thinking that it's all, gray, black and white. But the end of it, it's inevitable ecstasy. It really is. But a lot of people don't know until they know. It's inevitable ecstasy. You're going to get it one way or another. So just wait until your time's coming. We're pumping now, man. We're pumping. Let's see. How's ETH doing while Bitcoin is doing this? ETH still trudging along. Looks like we got our entry on Litecoin. All right, so we're up about 96% on Bitcoin. And we are up 26% on Litecoin. So if we do reach our full target of about 139 to 140, I'll come out with about 500 USDT added to the account. If we reach our full target on Bitcoin, let's see, I'm making a little bit more than $1 for every percent that I make. So if we hit somewhere around 27,000, yeah, I'll make about 600. So off of those two trades alone, I'll be adding a little bit over 100% to the portfolio. And then finally, but not last, ETH. So I'm up 164% on ETH, 122 USD equivalent. And if we reach the top of the range, about $666, that would put me at about 200, I would say $300. Yeah, about $300. So, and then we can take the breakout trade after that as well. What's really cool is, I don't know if you guys experienced this with your near-death experiences, but I was very sick, and this was pre-COVID, and I could not breathe, so I went to bed. While I did so, I went into this very deep meditative state where I think I died, because what happened was I kind of went deaf for like about 30 seconds, and I couldn't hear anything that was happening around me. I couldn't hear the air conditioner. I couldn't hear fish moving. I couldn't hear anything. It was pure silence. And then this ringing started happening in my ears that was louder than I've ever heard anything in my life. Like I was standing next to an airplane that was about to take off. And that ringing slowly but surely turned into like this beautiful symphony. You know, a lot of people would probably categorize it as like angelic music. It was like a mixture of like classical music and electronic music. Like instruments that couldn't possibly exist, but I heard them and what they sounded like. And it was kind of guiding me through this tunnel of light. It's not like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's a tunnel of light. And I was just kind of getting forced through it. And then, you know, a lot of stuff happened, but that's how it began. So that kind of made me want to research near-death experiences, and that's where I came upon, you know, DMT, and I, you know, started researching that DMT could be kind of like a connection point right? Because when you die, a huge amount of DMT is released into your brain. And that could be like a chemical gateway, so to speak. Increase the vibration of consciousness to pass from one side to the next. I know I'm talking a bunch of horse shit if anybody doesn't believe in this type of stuff, but I'm just talking about what I have experienced. A lot of the times in science or political perspectives, we're not allowed to talk about individual accounts. It has to be based on massive amounts of people submitting the same thing. It can't be individuals. It has to be a collective, which in a way is, it can root out a lot of bullshit, but that's my individual account, what it's like to die. Jurgen, hello. How you doing, man? Merry Christmas. Happy New Year coming up. Can you check out SNX? Sure. I'm supposing Tetherus will be good. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the daily. All right, so from a daily perspective, the average all-time high is at about $7.36. Okay. So that being said, we're kind of ranging and probably we're going to be capitulating alongside it here. So let's go ahead and say that we're at our all-time high. We're trying to break it. I don't know if this is actually the all-time high, but from that perspective, that's what I'm looking at. All right. So this is our range. Okay. So you probably want to wait until we break about $8 to enter in on this asset, or wait for it to drop back down to about $6.83 before buying in. And did we ever get there on any of these wicks? Kind of close. Now, that being said, lower cap coin, more prone to breaking support and resistance, but you can see a very, very long standing support and resistance here of a inverse head and shoulders. So this is a very, very nice pattern for us to kind of launch off of. So definitely, I'd probably be looking for this to break out pretty soon. At the moment, the $100 portfolio, I don't know exactly how many days we're into this. I can kind of estimate based off of the first trade. All right, so the first trade that we made on the $100 portfolio was right here. And so it's been about a month. Okay. So within a month, we have gone from $100 currently with the account at about $1,200. Okay. So we have made an additional 1,100% to the portfolio. And after all these trades are done, we should be at or above two grand. So pretty much summing up the month with about 20x to the portfolio. Dude, check out Biocybernaut Institute. Their week-long program is equivalent of 20 years of Zen meditation. Quite pricey though, but that's usually a sign that it works. Not necessarily. It's kind of like the Apple effect that I talk about, or if something costs more, you give it more validity. I would say go find your local drug dealer and buy some DMT off of them and smoke it. You want 20 years of meditation in a week? One full trip. I'm talking about an actual breakthrough trip of DMT. It's probably like 1,000 years of meditation. A monk's final test for him to become a grand monk, whatever they call it. They go into a cave for 7 days. Okay. 7 days, 7 nights. All right. So they have no contact with any light. Now, DMT is metabolized. Well, melatonin, when you're producing too much melatonin, and your body can't use it because you're already fully asleep or whatever, it metabolizes into DMT, which a small amount of that is kind of what kickstarts dreams. So when they're in this cave, around 3 days in, they're producing so much DMT that they go into a full trip. And a normal DMT trip lasts about 15 minutes. All right. And it feels like forever. All right. Literally. So you can only imagine what an additional 4 days in that state of mind would do to you. One of the monks kind of had like a hysteria moment. And when he came out of that final test, he went and just asked for pen and paper. So he wrote front to back, like 100 pages of information. And it was seized by the Chinese government. So nobody knows what the hell is in that book, but I kind of get why he was in such a rush, because when you come back from an experience like that, you got a look into some information that as a stupid monkey, you're not supposed to know. And it's like trying to put a petabyte of information into a 1 gigabyte flash drive. And it's tough because it's kind of aggravating in a way, but for right now, I like being dumb monkey. I really do. It's a good, you might think life sucks, but hey, you ain't got a whole lot to worry about. All right. So just be happy. Be happy, monkey. A lot of people get offended. And I know I'm not talking about how people call, racist people call other people monkeys. But a lot of people get offended when I say monkey. Okay. To me, it's not that offensive. It's just, we're all monkeys. We're ancestors of monkeys. I know if you're hardcore into religion and you take things quite literally, you don't think that evolution happened, but I think they coexist in a way. It's not as simple as saying one or the other. It's a combination of the two. Fish, I'll take you out in a couple minutes, buddy. Hey, no. We're gonna go outside in a little bit. You already went number 1. I know you probably need to go number 2. And wait 5 minutes. All right, with that being said, enough about life and death. Hopefully we talked enough about the trades. Everything's starting to kick off pretty nicely. Hopefully you guys make lots of money today. But we're gonna start saying goodbye. Merry Christmas to you all. We'll definitely be on before New Year's, and I might even stream on New Year's. So with that being said, I love all of you very, very much. And I truly, no lies here, I really hope that 2021 provides a better outlook for you, because we kind of all suffered through this year together, just kind of in our homes. So hopefully things get better and we start really treating each other like ourselves. Really, all of life comes back to the golden rule: treat others how you want to be treated. If you respect that one rule, everything else will fall in line. But it's like we forget it once we're past kindergarten. It's ridiculous. Fishy is patiently waiting for me to stop the live stream so we can go. He can go to the bathroom. Couple moments, Fish. I need to say goodbye. These people care about you. You don't care about them? He doesn't even know you guys exist. I'm sorry. He thinks I'm just talking to a computer all day. He's like, this dude is on crack. Crazy Kangaroo. Thank you, man. I appreciate you being here every day. All of you guys, everybody that shows up all the time, I really do appreciate it. This channel would be nothing without you guys. It really would. Or wouldn't. William Chung, hopefully I said your name correctly. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much. Hopefully you have a happy holidays and a happy new year. I don't know, does New Year's happen at the same time for everybody, or is it like depending on your region, 12 p.m. or 12 a.m.? Because I'll be streaming on New Year's. I'm going to try to. And I'm going to count down with you guys. But I know it might not be that cool because some of you guys would have already been in the new year, according to time zones. Merry Christmas and thank you for the streams. We'll hit you up for soon for knowledge. Johnny, absolutely, man. Always here. Glad to help. Crush Kool-Aid, thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. If you say we are monkeys, where I kind of agree, you should read Sapiens. I'll check it out. Thank you, Kite. Bless, love, peace from Bonaire. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I know a lot of the times I'll say thank you, man, but sometimes it might be a girl. I call everybody dude. Dude, man. I don't really care. I hope you know that I care about you, though. Kite and crew, Merry Christmas. Thank you, I appreciate it. Bye, Merry Christmas, love us too. Peruvian Crypto, Bitbird, thank you very much. I love you guys. Tyler T, Merry Christmas, Kite. Thank you, I appreciate it. Hopefully you have a good one as well. Dennis, Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas to you too, buddy. Merry Christmas. Kite, thank you for the Christmas stream. I appreciate you, buddy. John, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you as well. Alrighty, guys. With that being said, appreciate every single one of you. You guys are like a Christmas present in its own. So, as always, trade safe. You know, eat well, be well. Love your significant others and your family. You never know what's going to happen. Definitely this year, there's been some deaths in the family, and they didn't make it to Christmas, so you never know. Make sure you appreciate the time you have. With that being said, goodbye. I'll see ya on Monday. Goodbye.